All right, guys, what do you think are going to be the top cards of Pokemon Sword and Shield in September of 2022? That's right, guys. We're going to take a look back at the last month to see what changes have happened in the Pokemon cards list, because there has been a new set released, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see how those cards fall into the list of the top Pokemon cards in the Sword and Shield era. Now, once again, as a reminder, as with the top products, I am going to remove the Sword and Shield out of this title and move it into the top Pokemon products of the last 3 years, because I think that the 3 years is a great time period to be able to cut off and see how well cards are doing. You can still find them easily. They're still in print, and there's a lot of availability getting these sets. So I'm going to change this to a 3-year running cycle versus what we just being Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet or Sun and Moon. I think we'll just run this as a 3-year. That way we do have some ins and outs, some newcomers, some people leaving as these sets age and as things move on. And of course, as they go out of reprint, they become more and more expensive just due to lack of supply. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and change that list. Coming up in January really will be the change when, of course, Sword and Shield base set will become 3 years old. So once again, we're going to go ahead and go through that, and we're going to go through the top 15 cards here of Sword and Shield. So guys, if you're new here, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and as always, hit that like button. I like bringing in information like this so that you can see what is doing well and where maybe is a good opportunity to put your Pokemon investment when it comes to singles moving forward into the future. So let's go ahead and get going right into it, which is going to be this card right here, the Machamp V alternate art from Astral Radiance. This card last month was 109. This card has done nothing, staying at that 109 level. It has dropped 2 positions due to that fact, and it's not moving anywhere, either up nor down. Now, some people asked me to add in the PSA 10 level, so I'm going to throw that in here. Also, currently, this card is selling at a PSA 10 for $313. This card was, of course, released in Astral Radiance and has continued to do pretty much the same as it's doing right now, not moving much since the first 2 months of its release. So as we may see reprints and things happen, this card's value may continue to sink a little bit as time moves on. Next card I'm going to put up is next to me is going to be this one. That's right, some people asked last time about the Blaziken Vmax and were surprised that it didn't make the list. Now, I get my data with a combination of Pokedata.io for most of it, and then kind of do some follow-ups on eBay and also going on TCG Player. Pokedata.io had this card at $83, which means it got beat out by Dragonite for the $85 mark. So that's why the Dragonite V made last month. So now on the list tonight, it made it on the list at 109. That's right. The sales have continued to move up on this one. PSA 10 is looking at about $285. There have been 45 sales in this month, and it has moved in the upward direction. Next one we're going to put up here is at number 13 is going to be the Pikachu VMAX. This is the secret rainbow rare from Vivid Voltage. Once again, the hunt for Chunkachu is strong. It's difficult. It's a hard card to pull out Vivid Voltage, but with the amount of reprints in that set, it has become very widely available just to the amount of product that's been released from that particular set. Do I think that there's some value in this card? Of course, I think as people come back in 10, 15 years, they're going to remember this from these time periods of what happened, and they are going to be drawn back to this Vivid Voltage set and be drawn back particularly to this card right here. It is a nice looking card. I do like this for a Pikachu collection. It stands out. It's a very nice looking card in general. So right now this card is sitting at $119. It was previously $140, which means it has moved in the downward direction. We are still seeing 51 sales on this card, and a PSA 10 will run you $390. So once again, this card has moved in the downward direction, but once again, there is a lot of it out there, especially with that Vivid Voltage reprint to ETBs. It seems like it became a little bit easier to pull out of them ETBs. I'm seeing a lot more of these on the market and a lot more of them moving around. Next one we got on the list here I'm going to put next to me is going to be the Leafeon Vmax alternate art from Evolving Skies. Once again, this one remains on the list. This one, once again, has done nothing in the last month, staying at that $120 mark for both last month and this month. And the PSA 10 is currently selling at $300. There has been a total of 74 sales in the last month, and that has had no change in value up nor down. Number 11 on the list is going to be a newcomer. That's right, we have the Aerodactyl V alternate art from Lost Origins. That's right, brand new to the Pokemon TCG this month, and it has come up on the list right away at $129. This card has become famous because of PokeRev trying to pull it during his live stream where he pulled a lot of booster packs. I don't even remember the number. It was a crazy number of booster packs, and still was not able to find this particular alternate art while pulling doubles of almost everything else. So this card has gotten a little bit of a jump factor because of that stream. People are thinking that this card is a rare card, and thus they have been keeping this one going in the upward direction since its release. There has been a total of 112 sales on this. Now, this is almost the highest selling card. This is the top 3 right now, number 3 of the top 3 top sellers this month for this list. And right now, a PSA 10 will set you back $402. That's right. So if you're looking for this card right away on PSA 10, it is going to run you $402 today. Next one I've got here at number 10 is going to be the Leafeon Vmax alternate art from Fusion Strike. Once again, this one was in a promo from Japanese in the Eevee Heroes playset, and it did not get put into the Evolving Skies set, which was kind of surprising to a lot of us, or we thought it would be in a box. It made it into this Fusion Strike set, and this one has always done really well since it was released inside of Fusion Strike. It's been one of the top 3 pretty consistently every single month since this set's been released, and we're looking at a $130 price tag right now on this card raw, with a previous month of $110. So we have moved in the upward direction. There is a total of 71 sales of it this month, and if you want to buy a PSA 10 currently, it'll set you back $315. Once again, it's been a pretty consistent card over the last 6 months since Fusion Strike has been released. Now we're going to move into number 9, which is going to be the Leafeon Vmax alternate art from Evolving Skies. That's right, this one's going to stay on the list, and it's going to be running you about $135 right now in the raw. Last month, it was running you $125. There have been 59 sales, and has been moving in the upward direction here in the last month. The PSA version of this and a PSA 10 is going to put you at $300. Next on the list, we have Leafeon Vmax alternate art from Evolving Skies. This one comes in on the list at $144 this month in September. Previously, it was $115. It is moving in the upward direction and has had a total sales of 67 in the last month on TCG Player. And that if you want this card in a PSA 10, we're looking at $275 currently. Now, just so you know, there will be a lot of Evolving Skies on this list, and that's just going to be because the set is on fire right now, guys. We're seeing the set climb over $200. It's $216 right now for a booster box of Evolving Skies, which is just crazy. They have announced another reprint coming up here in December, possibly early January. So that means that this set should go down, but it has not even been affected by the word reprint said next to its name. So this set is just a really intriguing one. I mean, it does have a lot to offer. I get it. I understand that. And as long as we see the booster boxes and the packs continue to move in that upward direction, it's not surprising to me to see a lot of these Evolving Skies cards, especially these alternate arts, making the list and continuing moving up. So once again, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this continuing here for at least for the near future when it comes to the Evolving Skies line. Next one we're going to put up here at number 7 is going to be the Gengar Vmax alternate art from Fusion Strike. That's right, the little purple guy has made the list at $148 right now for a raw card, and that beats previous month, which was $105. This card has been soaring in the upward direction. There has been 67 sales of this card in the last month, and it is really moving in the upward direction. Currently, a PSA 10 will set you back $375. Next card we're going to come on at number 6 is going to be the Charizard V Secret Rare from Champion's Path. Now, this is the kind of the shiny version, the black Charizard with the silver card type one, not the rainbow rare from Champion's Path. So this one last month was sitting at $160. It was tied with the Champion's Path VMAX, and if you remember at the time, I was telling you that I chose the VMAX version over the V last month because we were seeing a continual movement in the upward direction on both of these. So once again, I was looking at the movement of the card to put it up for you guys for which one was going to be ahead of the other one. Now, this one is at $168 currently. It had a little bit of a downturn last month, but now it's come back up today, and that means that it's doing extremely well still and holding that ground. If you want this card currently in a PSA 10, you're going to be looking at $340. Next one we're going to put up here, number 5, and we're breaking the top 5 right now, guys, and that's going to be the Charizard VMAX Secret Rare Rainbow Rare from Champion's Path. Once again, Champion's Path has 2 of them right next to each other fighting for that position, but now there is a pretty good break between the 2 of them. Currently, this card is selling for $186 raw. That's up from the $160 that we saw last month, and it is still moving in the upward direction with 36 sales in the month of September. That means that you're going to be looking at quite a few of these actually for the age of this set and I want to say the lower print rate compared to a lot of the modern cards. Still seeing that kind of 36 sales just on TCG Player to me is still a really good number. So meaning people are moving this card around even at this price range. Currently, if you want to purchase this card at a PSA 10, you're looking at a $370 price tag. Moving into the number 4 spot, we're going to have our third Charizard, which is going to be a Charizard V alternate art from Brilliant Stars. This card is currently running $195, which is up from last month, which was $170. There have been 119 sales of this, the second highest seller of this month. And that means if you want to purchase this right now at a PSA 10, you're looking at a $460 price tag. Once again, I do like this artwork. I think that this card looks really nice, but this card moving in the upward direction gives me a little bit concerned because if we do see a reprint of Brilliant Stars, we could potentially see this one retract even further than what it did kind of on the first and second wave that they released back in February of 2022. So once again, guys, I think it's a great card. I think that this card overall will do extremely well in time, but I think that this card has still got some movement in the downward direction since Brilliant Stars is still so close, and there's still a lot of hype with the original trainer galley that was involved with that set. Number 3, that's right, guys, we're down to the final 3. The Giratina V alternate art from Lost Origins. That's right, a Lost Origins has jumped on the list again in the top 3 spot. Currently, this card will run you $226. Last month, we don't know because the set is newly released. There have been 232 sales of this card this month. This card is moving all over the place, and it is the number 1 seller on this list. If you want to purchase this card right now in a PSA 10, you're going to pay $929, almost $1,000 for a PSA 10 on this card. Now, do I think you should be looking at anything with this card? No, I do not. I think this card is way too new. It is way too early in the game to see where this card is going to be settled. Typically, I tell people when you're looking at a card that just makes this list, or if it's just been released, be sure that you wait a few months, at least 4 to 6, to see where it's going to flatline or kind of fall to. And then you can make some good decisions on whether or not it's time to purchase it. And definitely on the PSA cards, guys, there's a lot of them that are probably at PSA grading right now. The first few that have come out are extremely expensive, and we will see that pricing in the near future continue to go in the downward direction. So there's no reason to really jump on that pricing. It's better off just to wait if you're looking for this card for your alternate art collection or your God Pokemon collections, and wait for that card to kind of retract down to where things are going to settle after the hope and FOMO kind of falls away on it. Hype will kind of die. We'll have Silver Tempest come out. We're going to have all them Lugia cards come out that are going to be in that set, and that may change the positioning of this Giratina and definitely start to cool it so we can see where it's going to be. Next one we're going to be at the number 2 spot is going to be the Rayquaza VMax alternate art from Evolving Skies. That's right, once again, Evolving Skies is holding the high positions on this list. This card is running currently $280. That is up from last month at $210. There have been 58 sales. And if you want to purchase this card right now in a PSA 10, you're looking at a $525 setback. Now, let's just do a quick little discussion on the cards that fell off of this list. So we had 3 cards this list drop off of here, and that is going to be the 3 that are next to me, which are going to be the Charizard Vmax, the Charizard V-Star, and the Dragonite V alternate art from Evolving Skies. All of these were really good contenders last month, but they didn't do very much, or they slightly went down for most of their pricing. Once again, as Brilliant Stars continues to move on, it's kind of falling down in favor. Of course, we have a ton of the Shining Fates products out there right now. ETBs are under $50. You can still purchase these all over the place. They're still showing up in the stores. Right now, I can go to my local Walmart and purchase Shining Fates ETBs right off the shelf. Also, they have the Walmart boxes, the exclusive boxes, all of this product for it out there. So there's still a lot out there. It's dragging down the price of this Charizard. Now, this is where I was talking to you guys last month. Is this something you should be looking at? Yes, I think that this may be getting closer. A good opportunity to buy this Charizard VMAX, especially Shining Fates, because that card is now about to go under $100. We're sitting at still at 101. It really hasn't changed much from last month, but it is starting to slightly get closer to that number. It's kind of flatlined, but if it drops under $100, I definitely feel, in my opinion, that this card is going to be a great overall long-term hold for a product or a single. Next thing we got here is going to be the #1 spot, guys. That's right, we've made it to #1. This card has, of course, not going to surprise anybody. It has held this position for a long period of time now, and there is no sign of it giving up currently. And that is going to be this big guy right next to me, the Umbreon VMAX alternate art from Evolving Skies, otherwise known as the Moonbreon. That's right, the Moonbreon is still #1 on the list, and once again, Evolving Skies holding the 1 and 2 position on the list, and it's just not going to change, guys, in the near future unless we see something drastically happen to the Evolving Skies line. Currently, this card is running $440. Last month, it was at $400 for the raw. We have had 78 sales of this card on TCG Player, so it is still selling really well for that high volume or high price on that card. And if you want this card currently in a PSA 10, it is also going to run you about $845. This card is just cranking out Evolving Skies and keeping Evolving Skies moving in that crazy upward pattern. So guys, unless we get a massive reprint of Evolving Skies here in December, January, this card is going to see no signs of slowing up. And once again, guys, do we, as an investment scope, is it too late to invest in this card? I'm not going to say yes or no to that. I think my biggest thing is on this card that I would say is something that I want to really point out is it's still a lot of hype and FOMO on this card. What's going to happen when Scarlet and Violet come out? What's going to happen when some of these other sets start to really get going? The new meta starts moving, the new playability of these sets, and how these things are going to change when we go into Scarlet and Violet. People may see a new card that draws them into that set, and this Evolving Skies Umbreon may finally see a stall or a stop. Even a massive reprint could bring this card down. So as an investment, would I be purchasing this right now? No, I would not. I think I would be waiting until we see where things are going to kind of settle. Once again, guys, you have to realize in the Pokemon TCG, there is really no rush for a lot of these things, guys. There's time. There's enough energy going into other areas in the Pokemon, enough hype that eventually some things may eventually slow down just because of the fact they get older and older and older. Less people start chasing it. That's not always the case, but in general, guys, there's time. Just relax. Watch where it goes, and, you know, yeah, maybe a little bit more expensive in the future, but if it continues moving that upward direction, you're still going to be making an investment on it. And if you're looking at the long-term 10 to 15 years, right now, guys, if it's 440 and I purchase it at 480, I'm really not going to be too upset with myself at that point when this card passes that $1,000, $10,000, and $15,000 mark in 15-20 years. So once again, guys, maybe a little bit of a hype and FOMO. Might see some retraction after reprints. So definitely keep your eye on that card. If you're looking at it for an investment purpose, definitely could be a good time, but I won't say that I would be jumping at it personally. Other than that, guys, hopefully this is some good information. Once again, I hope these lists are valuable to you. Hopefully, as this continues and I continue to set, we'll see more and more of this data come out, which will then help you make decisions on which cards are more popular, which cards can maintain on this upward track or stay on this 15-card list. And that way you can make some good Pokemon investment decisions as we move forward into time. Once again, this will be changing into a three-year list as we hit January when Sword and Shield comes out of it. Just a reminder on that part of it. So when Scarlet and Violet gets released, we will, of course, be changing how we do this list, because I don't want to just exclude Scarlet and Violet and exclude everything else that comes up on that set. I want to keep the set fresh. I want to keep the information up to date, and I want to give people some really valuable information that can help them in the now and not with what's happening with cards that are already 4, 5, 6 years old. So otherwise, guys, hopefully this is some good information. And if it was, be sure you hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and as always, hit that like button, guys. That way you know when we're doing new things and you can keep up to date. If you do like this kind of content, as always, check out these 2 videos over here. I'll put them up for your information afterwards. And we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.